Welcome back to Clean Tech Talk. Today we're diving deep into a piece of equipment that, honestly, I think many people sort of underestimate in industrial cleaning, the air compressor. Everyone tends to focus on the dry ice blaster itself, right? But this silent workhorse is just as vital for getting that optimal, eco-friendly performance. So our mission today really is to unpack the essential specs, the different types, and what you need to consider when choosing the right air compressor. We want to help you ensure peak performance and avoid that costly downtime, all based on the info you shared with us.
Exactly. And it's crucial because what's often overlooked is that without the right compressor, you're not just losing efficiency. You could actually damage your expensive dry ice gear. I've seen it happen. A mismatched or underpowered compressor. It turns a straightforward job into, well, a real headache. It's like trying to power something heavy duty with a tiny battery.
A recipe for trouble.
Definitely.
Okay, so let's get fundamental. If this compressor is so critical, what's its actual job? Where does the power in dry ice blasting really come from?
Well, essentially, the compressed air is the propellant. It's the force that takes those solid CO2 pellets and blasts them at super high speeds onto the surface you're cleaning. So the effectiveness, removing grease, paint, whatever it is, depends entirely on that blast force. That's why air volume, pressure, even purity and dryness. They aren't just details. They're absolutely vital for consistent, safe, and efficient work.
That makes perfect sense. It's the engine, basically. So let's talk specs. Air pressure PSI. What are the key ranges we need to know?
Right, PSI. You need a minimum operating pressure of about 80 PSI. Think of that as just getting started. But the recommended range, the sweet spot for most jobs, is generally between 100 and 150 PSI.
Okay.
And here's a key thing. That higher PSI, it's not just brute force. It's specifically needed for tougher stuff like baked-on grease or heavy corrosion. An optimal 125 PSI is often the go-to for those really heavy-duty tasks.
Got it. So if PSI is the source, then CFM, air volume, is like the fuel supply for that engine.
Yeah.
What are the numbers there we can't ignore?
Precisely. CFM, or cubic feet per minute, is critical. Imagine trying to suck up a lot of dirt with a tiny little vacuum hose. That's kind of what low CFM does. Dry ice blasters are air hogs. You need minimum maybe 80 to 100 CFM. But realistically, for standard commercial units, you're looking at 150 to 300 CFM.
Wow, was quite a range.
It is. And for serious industrial cleaning, think big pipelines or large machinery, you often need 350, even 500 CFM or more. Skimp on CFM and your performance just plummets. Cleaning takes way longer.
All right, so we need the right pressure and enough volume. What types of compressors can actually handle this kind of demanding work?
Good question. There are a few main types. Rotary screw compressors are often seen as the ideal choice. They're designed for continuous, high-volume use. They're efficient, relatively quiet, and give really consistent airflow and pressure. Very reliable, very durable.
Okay.
Then you've got your diesel-powered compressors. These are the workhorses you see out in the field, construction sites, refineries. Very portable, very robust, especially where you don't have easy access to electricity.
Right, for remote jobs.
Exactly. And finally, electric compressors. These are great for indoor use, maybe in places like food processing plants or hospitals where noise is a concern. They tend to need a bit less maintenance, too.
That brings up air quality. You mentioned dryness earlier. Why is clean, dry air so incredibly important beyond just the pressure and volume?
Oh, it's paramount. If your air has moisture or contaminants like oil or dirt, it can wreak havoc inside the blaster. You get ice clogging up the works, the nozzle can actually freeze over, and your blasting performance just tanks. So clean, dry, oil-free air isn't just nice to have, it's essential to protect the equipment and get the best clean.
Okay, essential. So to get that clean, dry air, what are the key bits of kit? What air treatment components should people look for?
Right, you definitely need an air dryer that could be a desiccant type using beads or a refrigerated type that cools the air to condense moisture out. Both stop that internal freezing. Then an oil separator and good filters are crucial. They remove oil vapor and tiny particles. Super important if you're cleaning sensitive surfaces.
Like in food prep areas.
Exactly. And finally, regulators and monitors. They help you keep the pressure stable and make sure you're not overloading the system. Put it all together, and proper air treatment seriously extends the life of your blaster and boosts efficiency.
We've hit the big things: pressure, volume, type, air quality. But what about those often overlooked details? Things like hoses or maybe power ratings. Do they trip people up?
They absolutely can. Hose diameter, for instance, it sounds minor, but it needs to be at least 34 inch, often 1 inch for the bigger systems. And keep the hose length as short as you reasonably can. Longer hoses mean more pressure drop. A narrow or really long high-resistance hose basically chokes the airflow.
Like that tiny straw again.
Exactly. And power, yeah, industrial units typically need motors from 20 up to maybe 100 horsepower. Tank size varies too, 100 to 500 liters or more. Though those tankless rotary screw types, they're great for just endless, steady air.
Okay, good tips. And matching. How do you match the compressor to the specific blaster? Any brands that stand out for reliability?
Best bet is always check the blaster manufacturer specs. They'll tell you exactly what you need, but a general rule. Smaller, maybe entry-level blasters often do well with electric rotary screws, those heavy-duty industrial blasters. They usually need the continuous power of a diesel rotary screw.
Yeah.
As for brands, yeah, companies like Atlas Copco, Ingersoll Rand, Kaiser, they have solid reputations for reliability in this space.
Right. Lastly, let's touch on upkeep. What are the key maintenance and safety tips for keeping both the compressor and the blaster running smoothly and safely? It really boils down to being consistent. Regularly drain any moisture traps that build up is bad news. Check and change your filters on schedule. Inspect hoses before every use for cracks or wear. And safety first, always use your PPE eye protection, gloves, hearing protection. Follow the compressor's load-unload cycles too. Good maintenance isn't just about avoiding breakdowns, it ensures safety, uptime, and protects your investment in the long run. So maybe something for you to think about. How might investing in those often overlooked support systems, maybe in your own work, or even your life, lead to unexpected boosts in performance and longevity, much like this air compressor does for dry ice cleaning?
That's a great thought to leave us with. And as a special thank you to our listeners, you can now enjoy 10% off your next purchase at Olith. Just use the promo code ELITH2025 at checkout. That's AIOLITH 2025. Don't miss out.